And because and I'm looking at my watch, we're gonna holomua. I have a few slides, introductory slides like we normally do. So we usually start off by asking, where are you tuning in from? Can you introduce yourself in the chat and tell us where you're coming in from? I see Alohilani coming in from Kauai. Who else is there? Tell us what aupua'a or what area. Oh, I have another friend. Oh, Laiku is a regular here with us on Lei Ānuenue. Aloha e Laiku, Melele hune, me makana from Hanapepe. We have Kealia. Boboy is here. Aloha e Kalani, tuning in from Nanakuli. We have Papa Kolea, Kapa'a, Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's see. Oh, now moving fast. Waianae, Canada. Olekona, Nu'uanu, Kaleponi, Nani, Kamali'i Chang from Las Vegas. Anakala, it's moving so fast, like I cannot even keep track. Lakewood, California, Makiki, Alia Manu, Maunalua, Wahiawa, Honua Ula Maui, Waipahu, Eva, He'eia. So aloha no e ka'ohana, my polole. You know, we got those here in the pie. Aina, yesterday we had people, Hinano, joining us from Tahiti. We had, who else? We've had people from Aotearoa. So just really excited to see all our ohana and giving these different options to ohana to join us and to learn together through these kinds of platforms. So keep them coming. I see Wailua, Hilo, where else? O kahulu ke ia no ka malu ulu o lele me ke aloha nui. Aloha no e kahulu. Okay, I'm gonna holo mua, and you can keep introducing yourself even on Facebook. You can, say where you're at. Oh, okay, I had another question. And, not everybody can say that they've been to Kahoʻolawe. So I was wondering, can you just put one mana'o whether it's through a mele or through a picture or a class or something, just one little piece of knowledge about Kahoʻolawe. I kind of want to get a sense of what people know. And Kanaloa, I see a lot of comments there about Kanaloa. Kai'a ono o Kanapo. My kai, let's see, any other little tidbits of information? Navigation, it's important for navigation. Awesome. Has chokeau, ohana helm, heiau o ke ala I kahiki, the bell stone. Kahana ino ia o ka aina o e Amelika. Polole e kela aloha e ka ohana kani au pi o crozier. Ka ieve of papalaua o wakea, moa ula. Loko i'a. And so keep them coming. I mean, those amazing people, we all get these opportunities to really learn a little more about, just Kahoʻolawe. And I think that's what I love about Papa Mele, because we've been seeing through many of our presentations from when we first started with Nani sharing some of her original mele to Mele Tahiti yesterday that took us to a place called Maroto. So we've been getting all these little gems of information. Oh yeah, Ku'ulei Kanehele also shared with us Pele, Kanawai Pele. And so she looked at some Hulihia chants and took us through that. So amazing. Our mo'olelo, our oli, our hula is really like filled with so many of these mana'o that our kupuna are able to share us. So amazing. I love it. I'm seeing all these different mana'o coming into the chat. So mahalo nui. Okay, we're gonna holo mua. So I wanted to do a quick ho'olana of myself, and I'm gonna take us off of screen sharing. And then just say aloha. I'm gonna unmute Anakala too. But I'm Malia Nobriga Oliveira, and I'm tuning in from my onehanau, ku onehanau o hana pepe. Eia no wau me ko umama o Rosalind, ma komaua, komako hale, ma ke awawa o hana pepe, ma ka moku o kona, ma ke ahupua o hana pepe, okay, kai mea hoi hoi. One interesting little tidbit I've learned in some research of my aina is the ili that we're in is called ka'awai kahi. And I never knew that growing up. And so when I got to see some old palapala aina, I was just loving that that was the name of our ili, and the importance of vai that flows through our aina, whether it be too much that may flood or too little, just having vai and that mana'o around that. So I'm gonna unmute Uncle Kimo here and let him do a quick introduction and tell us a little bit about where he's tuning in from.
Aloha kako and mahalo ya oi e malia no kona ana mai ia'u. I am so thrilled and mahalo no kona no ana mai ia'u to be a guest here this morning. It's so lovely. Well, I'm here on my lanai at my home, which is Nani in lovely Nanakuli. Nanakuli has been home to me for over 25 years now, but my oneha now is actually in Manoa Valley. And so Nanakuli has become my adopted home, and welcome to my home.
Oh, mahalo nui and aloha. Yeah, so let's see. I'm gonna bring back my screen here, and we're really excited to have you, Uncle Kimo. And we're gonna let's see the next slide. Oh, I love this picture, Uncle Kimo, when you shared it with me. Can you introduce us to who this beautiful wahine is?
Oh, it's my pleasure to introduce you to her. And this woman is my hula mother. This is Adeline Nani Maunupau. And this is actually a picture from her funeral program when she passed away in 1992. And this woman, her father was Thomas Maunupau Sr. And for those of you who know Hawaiian things and language and history, you will recognize the name of Thomas Maunupau Sr., as he was one who took Helen Roberts to all of those chanters in the early 1920s. And he was the one that wrote down every syllable that came out of the mouths of these chanters, about 700 chants, I believe. And Thomas Maunupau, Department of Taxation in the Territorial Department, and also at the Bureau of Conveyances. And so he was recognized as a Hawaiian language authority and a cultural expert, because his father was the chief of King Kalakaua's fisheries. And so Adeline Lee is one of his children. There were about a dozen of those Maunupaus. But she was the one, and they all sang and they all danced. But she was the one that was gifted with such a beautiful voice and a remarkable memory, and just wonderful love for things Hawaiian. She was actually the hula teacher of my mother and my sisters. And as a little kid, I would tag along, and especially my younger sister, Cindy, who's 13 months younger than me, had to accompany her to her lessons after school and sit and watch the classes. And so that's how I first started to learn from this woman when I was about 9 years old. And I guess she saw that I enjoyed these things, and I was pretty up in those days. And so she literally took me under her wing, and she took me everywhere with her. People thought she was my mother. And so she's responsible for giving me that sturdy foundation for Hawaiian music and hula and chant. And she had a remarkable list of teachers too that we'll talk about a little bit later on. But that's her, Adeline Nani Maunupau Lee. She was 7/8 Hawaiian and 1/8 Pake. Isn't that wonderful?
Kind of like a lot of us too, right? We all have that little mixture of Hawaii, me pake, me pukiki.
You need that for the sparkle.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Oh, you know, I never got to meet Aunty Adeline Maunupau, but we've heard so much beautiful mo'olelo about her through our Papa Hula, as you know, we were going through our uniki process, and just to experience those mo'olelo and to learn many of her hula, and I can see her ano, and I feel like I know her because I've gotten to learn through you, and I think that's really like a very Hawaii way of passing on ike, because like we've always been told, we're a reflection of, you know, our kumu, and so they say like, well, who's your kumu, or who's your mom, or who's your dad, you know, because you really are a reflection on your own ohana.
No, that is so true. And I always had hope that I could do her justice. It because one of the and I don't know if I told you folks this or not, but on October 10th, 1981, I decided to have a 10-year commemoration of me teaching hula and have a graduation and recital. And I did it in the concert hall. I had more guts than brains in those days. And of course, my hula teacher was invited to come. And so I had asked her, you know, her thoughts about it. And the thing that first thing came out of her mouth was she was disappointed in that I had just a handful of chants, you know, the ancient hulas they used to call it. Because she said that's what I was originally trained for. And I always thought, well, I didn't want to put too many because back in those days, people were not really that much interested. And so that kind of bothered me, I think, throughout all the years. So I decided to do something about it. And so it was actually Auntie Pat Bacon that told me, you know, to get into action and to start teaching the hula olapa.
Mm.
And so that's how that class started. And I'm so glad that you're a part of that. A part of that. And every time I think of my Italia Cole Nani, I think of you because
Oh,
because that was yours to Kahea. And so it always reminds me of you. And
oh.
Adeline Lee, she had learned, I think her first hula teacher was a lady named Mrs. Baker. And it was an aunt of hers, Annie Baker. And I believe she came from Kualoa. And then she also learned from Lokelani Richards, who taught hula on Cartwright Road in Waikiki. And Lokelani Richards was a student of Ilalo Ole. And from what I understand, Adeline Lee was all somehow related to Joseph Ilalo Ole somehow. And then she also learned drum dancing from Tom Hiona. And then for 15 years, so 1950 to 1965, she learned hula from Mrs. Mary Kawena Pukui. And Mrs. Pukui was well acquainted with her family because of Thomas Maunupau. And she also learned from Lena Machado and from Alice Cavalcante Garner, who was Loyal Garner and Alicia Smith's mother. So she had very many teachers, and also she learned I would say incidental kinds of hula some other people as well. And so it's been such a wonderful journey of hula with her, and I'm really privileged that she had shared that with me. And she was really of the olden Hawaiian style. She never spoke. I never heard her speak unkind or harsh words about anyone. She had always such a olo demeanor. Everybody loved her. And if she didn't know something, she would take me to a teacher who did know. And that's one of the things that I think the old Hawaiians did. They ike or recognized that other teachers knew other things that they didn't. And so that's how I had come to learn the hula hoi and the hula puniu and other things because she allowed me to learn those things and took me to those teachers. Isn't that wonderful?
That's really wonderful, you know, and mahalo for sharing that. You know, when you're talking about this amazing genealogy of Kumu and people who have influenced you and have taught you, I think that weaves in really well to our conversation the other day, because Manuai and Nalani had shared their own personal moʻolelo that they published into a kid's book. And it was really about voyaging and yeah, they one of the questions was to put it out there to many ohana to talk about their genealogy. But here's another level of genealogy, and it's may not be our bloodline of genealogy, but it's a genealogy of Kumu and people who have shared Ike with you. So that's, yeah, really beautiful.
You know, because it is so beautiful, and I think because I've she really was like my hula mother. She took me everywhere with her, and I I'm considered family to her. And so all these years growing up, I know her children, her brothers and sisters, their cousins. And the very last mele that she taught me before she passed away was a mele noa for her father that was composed by Aunty Alice Namakelua. And so, you know, you become a part of these people's families. And that's right. We're not biologically or genetically connected to them, but they are my family. You know, I consider
Mhm.
her children my brothers and sister. And same with my last teacher, you know, who was Betty Atkinson, who was Ilala Ole's daughter. And so her sons are my brothers. And she even listed me in her obituary as
Mhm.
son. So we can carry the kuleana of their families. And I think that's so beautifully Hawaiian. Don't you think so?
Yeah, that is so beautifully Hawaiian. And yeah, mahalo for sharing all of that. So maybe you can introduce the Mele and just give us a quick overview of what we have in store for today.
Okay, I brought show and tell. I want to show all of you folks something.
Okay.
And this comes from Adeline Lee, my hula mother. It's this wooden box.
Oh.
And it's a file box. It's an old-fashioned wooden file box. This file box was at the Department of Parks and Recreation. Adeline Lee worked as a hula teacher, ukulele instructor, and Hawaiian singing teacher for the City and County Department of Parks and Recreation from 1950 to 1979. This box contains I think about 650 mele,
Wow.
and it was by Mrs. Alice Kalahui. And I don't know much about Alice Kalahui, but I think she's a Kauai girl. Her maiden name was Newman, but she was married to Louis Kalahui, and she was the one who ran the music and dance department at the Parks and Recreation. So it was her, Alice Kalahui, and the other Alice, Namakelua, and Adeline Lee, who maintained this box of mele, and it's all on these file cards. And I'll show you because both of the mele that I'm sharing today comes from this box,
Wow.
and this is the card Lei Kahoʻolawe, the mele that we're going to be doing. I don't know if you can see it, but this is what all of these cards look like. And so there's the Hawaiian words on the left side and the Hawaiian words on the right side, and whatever information that they got. Now, one of the things that the Department of Parks and Recreation did starting in 1950 was they started a Hawaiian songwriting and composing contest. At that time, they felt that the art of Hawaiian composition was dying in 1950. And so they opened it up to composers in the community to enter this contest. And so we had people like Johnny Almeida enter, and he had become a very, very dear friend and supporter of the Parks Department. So his songs are in here, and other lovely gifts of to the parks people. And Mrs. Pukui, her songs that she composed. What's interesting about today's song, Lei Kahoʻolawe, is that, well, this comes from that song contest. It was composed in 1952, in July 1952. But it's going to be entered in the 1954 song contest, and it's going to win fourth place. And the reason why she writes composes this song, was she writes it as a mele noa from a woman named Mrs. Inez McPhee Ashdown. And Inez Ashdown's family owned Kahoʻolawe Ranch, and they lived on Kahoʻolawe until December 8th, 1941. The day after Pearl Harbor was bombed, they were given an eviction notice to clear off of Kahoʻolawe, and the United States is going to use that island as a bombing target. And so Inez Ashdown, she's actually quite an authority on things Hawaiian, even though she is pure Haole. But Mrs. Pukui admired her enough to compose a mele inoa for her. And as Hawaiians, we know that the mele inoa is the highest compliment you can give to another person. And Mrs. Pukui, she was so knowledgeable herself. And she had admired people who freely gave of their knowledge, like Mrs. Ashdown. And Mrs. Ashdown also, she knew an awful lot about Maui. And so this is a little bit background of her song. And what's interesting about this song too is that Mrs. Pukui composes both the words and the melody. For those of us familiar with Mrs. Pukui's stuff, she usually has a melody done by Mrs. Manny Lamb or Mrs. Irmgard Farden Aluli. But in this song, she composes both the melody and the words. Oh, good, you got the words up there. And it's entitled Lei Kahoʻolawe. And the lei I have on is not the real lei for Kahoʻolawe. We use this as a substitute. And this, I was going to wear this lovely puamelia behind me, but I said, oh no, I'm singing about Kahoʻolawe. So I went out into the yard and grabbed the hina hina that's hanging from my trees and put it around my neck. But this is, you know, the umi umi odol, yeah, or the Pele's hair. And so substitute for the real hina hina ku kahakai, which is getting, you know, rarer these days. And so this is Lei Kahoʻolawe, and what I love about Mrs. Pukui's mele is that they're not complicated. Many we have today are complicated, especially in its words. Now, Mrs. Pukui, you know, she did the Hawaiian dictionary, so you know she knew, you know, 30,000 words. But when she her mele, she wants people to enjoy the mele without having to think too much about it. And so she simply says, Leia na kahoʻolawe I ka lei hina hina, kuʻupua ona ona. Now that's a very, very interesting word when we speak it and say it. I hear a lot of people nowadays say o nauna, but it's not o nauna. The old timers insisted that it was o naona. You give each syllable the same amount of time, but just don't put an okina in front of the, like ona ona. You know, just ona ona. Ku'upua ona ona. Ika ikai. And her words are always so descriptive so that you can do them into a hula. Oh, maybe about 20 years ago. No, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, maybe about 20 years or more ago. My cousin Colleen Ayu, she was responsible for the Kahoʻolawe float in the King Kamehameha parade. And she asked me, cousin, do you think you have that we could dance on the float? The first song that came to my mind because of its wonderful descriptive words for the. And I don't think Mrs. Pukui to Inez Ashdown, she got a pretty good idea of what Kahoʻolawe looked like, sounded like, and felt like. And so she gives some very good concrete descriptions here. And with Mrs. Pukui's songs, she almost always has 5 verses because where Mrs. Pukui comes from in Ka'u, 5 is the number of completion. And Auntie Pat Bacon explained to me 5 digits in a hand. And with your lima, you can complete things. And so 5 is the number of completion. Isn't that wonderful, yeah?
That's beautiful. I have the other verses on the next few slides.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Shall we go there?
I don't know.
Or do you want to sing the mele for us first?
Okay, and the leo, the tune, is not very complicated. It's quite nice. And for all of you who have ukuleles and or guitars or something you want to play along with, there are only 2 chords in this song, and I'm going to be playing it in the key of C. And so you don't have to be an ukulele virtuoso this morning. And I'm going to play it as close as I can to the way Adeline Lee played it, because Mrs. Pukui taught it to her, and Adeline Lee, she was such a wonderful ukulele player. She was always so exact. She held the exact chords. She did not take any liberties, and also she had this beautiful, clear, high voice that was always precise. And I always think of myself as being very kapulu or sloppy compared to her singing, because I take too many liberties a lot of times. As I get older, stop this nonsense, yeah, and get back to the real thing. So this is what it sounds like. I'll just sing it without the ukulele. Lei Ānuenue Kahoʻolawe, Ikalei hina hina, ku'upua ona ona, ika ehu. That's all.
Nice, nice. I like it.
Ua ike ia owe. Isn't it lovely? He aina meha meha. Oh, that's another word. I don't know who started it, but a singer started to sing aina. And I don't know where they got that from, but it's not aina. Never was and never should be. It's aina. Ua ike ia owe. He aina meha meha. Ika po ai puni ia. Eke kai hanupa nupa. And the third verse is kia mau ia e nā manu o ke kai e ka iwa kia ni I ka maka o ke ao. And the next verse, we're going to hear things. O ka leo o ka hipa, me ka leo o ke kao, hoʻolau kanaka ana, a I kou maukula. I was always taught when there's an A and an E together in Hawaiian singing, it's not ai, but it's going to be sung as ai. And then the last verse is Ha'ina kapuana, Ilohe ia kainoa, o aineki kawahine, inoho ia ka hoʻolawe. Can't you just picture the hula with all those wonderful descriptive words?
I can. I was already visualizing that.
That's the beauty of Mrs. Pukui's songs. So we're going to sing it now in the key of C, and you can't see him, but Kamahana is across from me with his guitar, and he's waving hello to all of you this morning. So he had popped down from upstairs to Ho'okani Pila with us. And are you folks Makau?
Yeah, put a one in the chat if you're Makau. I also put the links for the Mele in the chat. So the Mele are available for you to download. It's at kanayokana.net/kahoʻolawe, as well as kanayokana.net/Lei Kahoʻolawe. Sorry, we were kind of putting it all together. So yep, we're getting some shaka signs and some ones in the chat. So they're ready to holomua.
Well, Makau, here we go. Here we go, Kamana and see. Lei Ānuenue Kahoʻolawe, Ikalei hina hina, ku'upua ona ona, ika ehu hoki kai. Lei Ānuenue Kahoʻolawe, Lei Ānuenue Kahoʻolawe, Ikalei hina hina, ku'upua ona ona, ika ehu hoki kai. Ua ike ia oe, He aina meha meha I ka poʻai puni ia E ke kai hanu hanu pa Ua ike, we'll do it 2 times so the hula dances. Ua ike, ia oe, he aina meha meha, I ka poʻai puni ia, e ke kai hanu hanu pa. And then we have iai, mau ia, e na manu o ke kai, e kai o Kiani, I ka maka o ke ao. Kia I mau ia, kia I mau ia, e na manu o ke kai, e kai o Kiani, I ka maka o ke ao. O ka leo, o ka leo, o ka hipa, me ka leo, o ke kao, hoʻolau, kanaka ana, a I kou maukula. O ka leo, o ka hipa, o ka leo, o ka hipa, me ka leo, o ke kao, hoʻolau, kanaka ana, a I kou maukula. Haina, haina ka puana, I lohe ia ka inoa, o aineki ka wahine, I noho ia ka hoʻolawe. Haina ka puana, haina puana, I lohe ia ka inoa, o aineki ka wahine, I noho ia ka hoʻolawe.
Paipailima kako. Let's do some paipailima out there. That was so beautiful.
It is, and I hope people will, it has a catchy tune.
It
And I
does.
hope people will begin to sing it and teach it to others. Otherwise, it's such a pity to have, our old Mele die.
Yeah.
And especially from something like a song for Kahoʻolawe. Now, there are, people I think forget a lot of times that Kahoʻolawe was actually inhabited by people. And I do have, quite a handful of songs that were composed by people who actually lived at Kahoʻolawe. And the other song that I have for us this morning is simply entitled Kahoʻolawe. And again, this song comes from our magic box. And I have, it would be fun just to go through this box one day and just sing all the songs in the box.
Wow. I want to be in that hui when you go through it. Can I raise my hand to come over?
Of course. You have an open invitation. I can't have to reorganize this box. I can't find it right now. But all I know is that this song was composed by a woman named Mrs. Dorothy Mahunalii. And I hope there's somebody out there who is ohana to this woman, because I don't know much about her, except that I don't know what it was. I think I was looking at the Honolulu Advertiser or the Honolulu Star Bulletin on microfilm. And I saw a picture of this woman, and I think she was making malasadas or something. And she looked like a Portuguese woman. And I believe it said that she lived in Kailua on Oahu. Well, in 1956, she's going to enter this song into the Hawaiian Songwriting and Composing Contest, sponsored by the Department of Parks and Recreation. Yeah. And I would like to say something about the Department of Parks and Recreation, because I consider myself a product of the Parks and Recreation, because as a kid, we used to play it all the time, join in on their programs. I can never remember ever registering formally for a program. I just went and hung out with the rest of the kids and whatever, and like my sister's hula class and stuff. But the Parks and Recreation, I think we owe them a lot in perpetuating many of the things that we do today. When things were not fashionably Hawaiian, the Parks and Recreation did those things. Many of us can remember Mrs. Marie McDonald, and she was with the Parks and Recreation. Um, Mrs. Lei Collins, in the early years, she was with the Department of Parks and Recreation, and she was responsible too for the playground quarter hour, which you can get into later on. And geez, some of us, there's still Aunty Fumi with us today, Euphemia Nagashima. And Euphemia Nagashima, she's with the lei making people, and all the hardcore lei makers know who she is. She's with Parks and Recreation people. Aina Keawe, all kinds of Mele Kalama, who did the Kapakuiki, and these are all Parks and Recreation people. Um, oh gosh, Mrs. Rosalie Gahan, who did Lauhala at Paki Park. They kept these things going. And so I really want to commend them for that. And they kept these songs going. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't be able to do this today.
I wanted
And
to no, sorry for interrupting. I'm just so thankful for you sharing that mo'olelo, because even here on Kauai, we have benefited from those kinds of programs before that were really innovative at the time. I mean, it brought it into our community. We all have these rec centers, like Hanapepe has a rec center here. And when we were young, we also went to the rec center, and that was some introduction to hula classes too. So I wanted to ask, because we have participants on all the different islands and even beyond, and people, keiki as well as kupuna. I'm just wondering, how many of you have been a part of any program, whether a kumu or maybe you were a participant at a Parks and Recreation Center out there? Yeah, people are saying hula classes. Aunty V Kidder at Nanakuli Parks and Rec. Leato is saying that he was also teaching at the Parks and Rec Center. Many have Alana Kanahele with the summer fun. All kinds of fun things. Yeah, and people are also mentioning the lake court. That's another program that they have been continuing, the Lake Queen.
yes, that's right. Adeline Lee, she was in charge of the Waikiki Shell pageants until she retired in 1979. And if people remember those beautiful evening pageants that they would have with the Lay Queen and her court, and the hula studios that came out to dance. We didn't have halaus in those days. They were hula. And Auntie Alice the Makilua, I know during summers, she would come to Kauai to teach hula and ukulele. And she had composed some lovely songs for Kauai, because of her visits and stays during the summers.
Oh, so some fabulous. Of the other people they're putting out there is Leolani Pratt, Frank Hewitt, Kepa Mali, Meali'i Kalama, George Holokai, Alice Namakelua. So many different people.
So many different people. As a matter of fact, I think Leolani Pratt is the only one still alive that was a part of the permanent hula staff that actually used this. Yeah, permanent hula staff, and they had quality and all of that. They couldn't have a teacher, so this is interesting. The Parks and Recreation people. This is a simple song too, and I wish I knew more about this song, and I don't, but I do know how to sing it, and I think it's a good song too that we can teach with children, because I know a lot of you folks are stuck with your keiki now that we're all on lockdown.
Yep.
And I have the feeling, though, that this song was composed for children in mind. And I'm going to be, and this is another song with just two chords. So it's very user friendly for all of you who have your ukulele or guitars. And this is what the melody sounds like. Kahoʻolawe, kahoʻolawe, moku uku meha meha, moku uku meha meha. I think this is a good time to let all you folks know, as I was telling you earlier, Malia, that sometime back, Kai Nani, we had on your program, she teaches a class, and she was looking for a Kahoʻolawe song that was relatively simple. And I shared this song with her. So I think she might be the only other one besides myself that knows how to sing it, and her students. And it was actually Kai Nani that inspired me to share a couple songs about Kahoʻolawe. And I'm so glad to do this. And the second pauku sounds like this. Hina e uhi ana i nā kakaipali. E uhi ana i nā kakaipali. And the haina sounds like this. Haina ia mai ana ka puana moku uku meha meha. Moku uku meha meha. And again, quite simple words. They're not complicated. And again, for all you hula people, it's easy to make descriptive movements with this song. And so I'm going to put my ukulele, and Kamahana's going to add his guitar to this wonderful song, Kahoʻolawe. Only two chords, and we are going to do it in the key of F. Are you Makaukau? Okay, here we go. Oh, by the way, I've never been to Kahoʻolawe. No, I've been invited to Kahoʻolawe, but you know what? I cannot imagine myself strapping water onto my back and going to the kai and all of that. And I always tease people, well, when they build the Kahoʻolawe Hilton, maybe I'll go. Kahoʻolawe, 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 moku uku meha meha, moku uku meha meha. Kahoʻolawe, 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 moku uku meha meha, moku uku meha meha. O kahina hina, o kahina hina, o vehi ia, e uhi ana i nā kakaipali. E uhi ana i nā kakaipali. O kahina hina, o kahina hina, o vehi ia, e uhi ana i nā Keaulana, yeah, that's sweet, yeah.
Oh, eo kahoʻolawe.
Kahoʻolawe.
Oh, mahalo nui. Actually, it looks like Nani and her haumana are joining us, and she put a little note in there says, "Mahalo e anakala ko ike mano mano no na mele."
No kahoʻoli, mahalo hoʻi.
And we have a question here, and you might have mentioned it earlier, but maybe you can answer this. It Mele Lauli'i is asking, "Navai I haku kamele kemele."
Ike ia mele kahoʻolawe.
Hi.
Mrs. Dorothy Mahunalii I haku ike mele nei.
Mahalo. Mahalo. So I wanted to see if there's any questions, and maybe we can go. I'll maybe go back a few slides and see if maybe there's questions for Lei Kahoʻolawe. Any ninau out there that you would like to pose, you can put it in the Zoom chat here. I found it interesting that whether it's referring to it as Aina Meha Meha or Moku Meha Meha, I found that interesting that both Haku Mele use that to describe Kahoʻolawe.
That is interesting. And I think because, well, these songs come out of the 1950s. And at that time, the island was still being used for target practice. Because when I lived on Molokai, when they would bomb Kahoʻolawe, Molokai would shake. And so that island was always thought of, well, it's off limits and it's low, it's not with the rest of the other islands in Hawaii. So I think at that time especially, we thought of that island as Meha Meha, being by itself only, with no playmates.
Yeah. And then I was gonna I was gonna say really quickly, and again, feel free to put any questions in the chat. For those of you that do go out and ohi ohi hina hina, I find it interesting. I mean, that the second line that kind of supports that in the first verse says ku'upua o naona, and it's not a very fragrant flower like say pua melia or pakalana or something, but maybe you can make a comment on why you think maybe that's a reflection of that, or is it something else?
No, you're right, because you really have to go up to the hina hina to smell it. And I think what Mrs. Pukui meant is that ona can also mean gentle, or like when somebody has lima ona, they have soft, gentle hands. And I think that's what she also means about this flower. It's not only the alaya, but also the gentle nature, yeah, of this flower.
Oh, that's beautiful. Laiku, one of our haumana at Ānuenue, is asking, Uncle Kimo, how did you learn how to kani ukulele?
I mainly watched Adeline Lee, because Adeline Lee would play the ukulele when she taught her hula classes and when she taught the singing. But I always tried to watch where her fingers went, and I really couldn't get it. So at home we had the Charles E. King book, and I think every Hawaiian house had the blue book or the green book, or both the Charles E. King's blue and green book. And on page 148, if you open it up, there's all the ukulele chords. And so I would press down on the strings with, following the black dots, and and try to strum, and that's I'm virtually self-taught that way. But the way I was strumming is the way Aunty Adeline strummed her ukulele, just like that. I don't play like that today. I use a pick, for the volume, but she did not use a pick. and she strummed that way, very, very even and very, very precise. And so that's how I was trying to play for you folks today, how Adeline Lee pretty much played her ukulele.
Mahalo. What kind of advice would you give to anyone wanting to learn to play ukulele or learn new songs? How should they go about learning that?
Oh, that is a real good question. And I know that the taste for music these days have changed. And even amongst Hawaiian music. What I did with all of you today is a very traditional and a very old. And I know that especially with the younger people, they don't find it very exciting. And well, that's too bad because I do. And this is how I learned how to play ukulele, and especially for the hula. And for hula music, what I was doing is called a pa strum, and it gets its name from the ipuya, the pa, just like this. And so Hawaiian rhythms, typically Hawaiian rhythms, come from our ipu beats, and so that's how I know Hawaiian music. And what we know as the olapa strum, this drum, some people call it double strum, some people call it triple strum. All the Hawaiians, many of them did not even recognize that as a Hawaiian strum.
Hmm.
Some musicians knew it as the pueo strum because it was first heard on a 49th state recording uh, entitled Nakapueo. And so they picked it up as the pueo strum or the olapa strum because it comes from again, the utete from the ipu.
Right.
So a lot of times when I hear Hawaiian music today, to me, it doesn't sound very Hawaiian because they're not doing our Hawaiian rhythms. They're doing introduced rhythms. And so I think to learn how to play ukulele, you have to, I think, make up your mind. What kind of ukulele do you want to play? Do you want to play a traditional Hawaiian ukulele like I was playing today? Or do you want to play something else? And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, so you just got to find that teacher that will
Yeah.
give you what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe I was thinking to what came to my mind is laiku or any others that wanna, and I have to do this more too, because I want to learn how to play ukulele better. But when your ohana gets together and is having a party, and you see the aunties and uncles start bringing it out, and they start jamming, like go sit in those circles and go just be around it. And I think that's a really good way to learn, and it's a comfortable space because people are at up in the paina mode, so they just kanikapila. And I think, yeah, that's the good way. Just jump in and follow along, like you were saying. You would just follow your kumu. I see a question here. I think it's a really
Yeah.
good question. That says, Lei Kahoʻolawe, can it turn into a oli, or would it be disrespectful?
That's an excellent question. And I believe that would be disrespectful because it's the composer's intent to have it performed as a song like how we just did it. That's a real good question because we cannot take liberties with other people's songs. And that's what I've been always been taught, that this is the way a composer would like his or her song to be done, and you will do it this way and not to pay disrespect to them. It's almost like doing graffiti or like repainting the Mona Lisa. So I grew up with Hawaiian music in a very strict sense that way. You don't rearrange or overarrange. That's a good
Okay, no,
question.
mahalo. And I really appreciate it, sharing, because we see a lot of that kind of innovation today. And, and yes, every kumu teaches in different ways. And, for many of us that came through you, that's how you've taught us. And so when we learn it a certain way, we keep it that way, and we ho'omau that tradition of knowledge. And I think that's what's really important is, where are you getting it from? What's your source? And how are you going to represent it in the future? We had a question the other day, what kind of kupuna are you gonna be when it's your turn, you know? And yeah, I think that's an interesting thing to ponder on. And I think, yeah, we have all kinds of
No,
interesting.
that is, and what the music sounded like, what the thoughts look like.
Mahalo. Sorry, I think, you know, we're all learning as we use this technology
We have
to
some technical
share.
difficulties, huh?
Yeah. But I think we're back, and you know, we're getting close to the end, and there was a request from Kumulili Kala Kame Elehiva Aloha Elili Kala. And she's asking if we can put the words up again, and if you would grace us by singing it one more time as we come to an end of our Lei Ānuenue session.
Oh, sure. Okay. I see Lei Kahoʻolawe up there, and so we'll do Lei Kahoʻolawe. I think we'll do it just once each verse then. I think, yeah.
Hikino.
Okay. And for those of you who have ukuleles with you, could you please get them out? And we're going to be doing Lei Kahoʻolawe in the key of C. And here we go. Kamahana, you bakau kau. Leana, Leana Kahoʻolawe, Ikalei hina hina, U'ukuho ona ona, Ika e huo ke kai. Ua ike ia owe, he aina meha meha, Ika po'ai kunihia, e ke kai hanu hanu pa. Kia i mauia, e na manu o ke kai, e ka iwa ki ani, I ka maka o ke ao. O ka leo, o ka hipa, me ka leo o ke kao, hoʻolau kanaka ana, a I kou mau kula. Haina ka puana, I lohe ia ka inoa, o aine ki ka wahine, I noho ia ka hoʻolawe. Walama. Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah. Do we have time to do the other Kahoʻolawe song? Okay. Oh no. Okay, we'll do Kahoʻolawe in the key of F, and we'll do it just once each verse too, because I see we ran out of time already. Okay,
We're good. We're good. Ho'omau.
You sure? Okay. Okay, here we go, Kamahana. Kahoʻolawe. Hina hina, oka hina hina, kovehi ia, e uhia na hina kakahitani, e uhia na hina kakahitani. Haina.
Mahalo nui.
Aloho'i, no kahoʻole.
Yeah, and we have even people, a lot of people saying mahalo, like Sabra Kauka is tuning in from Kauai saying mahalo nui loa e Kumu Kimo. And yeah, just so many people are just thankful. And again, mahalo, Uncle Kimo, for bringing your leo into all of our hale today. Where some of us are with our kupuna, with our ohana sitting here in our hale and staying safe. And it's been such a pleasure to have you. Do you have any closing mana'o before we wrap up with a few last slides?
Not much, but I would like to mahalo you, Malia, for always being so wonderfully sharing of your time and your talent. And I really want to thank you again for hosting our students from Punahou School in Hanapepe. They're still very excited about their visit to Kauai. And mahalo for extending your aloha. And what I think is important about this morning, with having you folks invite me into your homes, is that we can share just a little bit of stuff that we think is important to carry on into the future. And I would encourage you folks to sing these mele, sing them with your children or with your family, and don't let them die. Just keep it going, okay?
Yeah, mahalo. And I believe this is Kumu Deviana McGregor, who's one of the longtime kia'i at Kahoʻolawe. And she's saying, I hope you can join us on Kahoʻolawe to sing this song. So
I think I would like to at least take these songs and maybe others to Kahoʻolawe and actually sing them on Kahoʻolawe.
And by
yeah,
the
but
way,
I don't want to swim in. Can I helicopter?
Yes, there are ways. There are ways. I remember going one time with, and really Kumu Deviana, it was because of her ethnic studies 2-1 class that we got to go to, we got to choose to do a paper or go to Kahoʻolawe. And of course, I opted in for Kahoʻolawe. But what I experienced, and then the second time I went was with Anakala Eddie Ka'anana as a kako'o to him, and I got to go fly on the helicopter. So I know that there's a way to go by helicopter, and Kumu Deviana is saying, we will be in touch.
Oh, Mike, Mike, I don't want to get my ukulele wet. That's why. I'm a bass too.
Yeah, so thank you again. I mean, we all have this aloha for Kahoʻolawe, and especially recently with what was happening there with the fires. And so there were many that were sending pule and calling for the makani and the rain to just, kokua there. And, again, Kahoʻolawe, like many of our aina, need that special pule and aloha that we send out. So by singing these mele, we bring life to all of our islands. So thank you again for sharing. Mahalo. So I have just a few more slides to finish up here as we come to an end. So as usual, we humbly ask you to go to kanaiokana.net/survey to help us answer a few questions and tell us a little bit of what you learned today. It takes just a few minutes, and tell us what kind of programming you would like to see. And then if you want to stay connected with us, finding us on Facebook is a great way to stay connected. And I've started to update the classes for next week, and this is what I have in store, and we have in store as Lei Ānuenue. So look at these fun things. Next week, Tuesday, we're gonna have Eomailani Kukahiko joining us, Pili Helu math activities for Ohana. And so that's something, that she'll be sharing at the 2 p.m. on Tuesday. Ka'iu Odom and Kim Ku'ule Bernie, both with Roots program out of Kokua Kalihi Valley, as well as Papa Ola Lokahi, will be, by special request, doing natural dye for Easter eggs. So, you know, we're coming to that time. And so if you want to learn how to make your own dyes and not have to go to the store, because we should stay home, you know, we can learn from on Tuesday so that by the time it comes, if you're going to do that with your ohana, then, you know, you're able to do that. And then on Thursday, I still working out some plans for the morning one. Tuesday, Mahina Paishan Duart will be doing a Inamona hands-on session, and we're working out some of those details. But if you want to learn how to make Inamona out of kukui, come on back. And then finally on Friday, and I think Friday's a holiday, but Meleana Meyer is coming back and sharing another art class. I'm not even sure. I haven't heard the details of what kind of art it'll be, but I'm excited to always sit by Meleana, and hopefully some of you have been making your books and, you know, any of these Avina. I think that's what we're really trying to bring into your homes are options, whether it be Mele or art or math or natural dyes using things from your refrigerator. Yeah, so stay tuned and come on back and share the information with your ohana, because we want you all to come. So again, stay connected with us on Facebook. Come and follow us on Kanayo Kana's Facebook page. Also on Instagram, you can follow us there. We also have a website. And we're again just really, really thankful for Anakala Kibo for joining us from Nanakuli, and again for sharing these beautiful mele for Kahoʻolawe, and just a way to ho'ohanohano all of our kupuna and sending aloha out to all of you as we stay safe during this time. But, you know, a good excuse to be together with ohana and to celebrate with mele and mo'olelo. So mahalo again, and hoping everyone has a beautiful weekend, and aloha.